Uh, well, we'll see what goes on. We'll see if you guys even want to do it in a second. So you guys last time you guys successfully redeemed a undead phoenix, resurrecting it yet again through
No,
mysterious
we redeemed a phoenix
what?
by killing an undead phoenix.
Yes.
Good job, guys.
Daco, you have been. Let's start with that. You have been investigating the palimpsest. Um, Go ahead and give me an investigation roll. We'll figure out what you what. Well, actually, what are you? What is Daco trying to accomplish?
Well, we came out from under that underground place with the
Mm-hmm.
cabinet and everything, and there was a fight or a dragon attack going on
Mm-hmm.
down inside that temporal distorted area. And Daco, the sheriff, hears innocents possibly in danger and had to go investigate because, you know, Zashi made him the sheriff.
Okay.
So,
So yeah. Investigation 11. Okay.
He ran up to play superhero.
Most of what you find there is there's a bunch of undead. Like, you do notice as the dragon is kind of flitting around and attacking things. You notice there is basically the entire area is kind of in like siege mode. They all hunker down. Initially, they sent out basically their air cavalry, which is their ghosts, but they found that was a colossally bad idea, as the gemstone dragon was able to absorb the psychic energy from them and make itself more powerful. Now it seems like the dragon is just kind of like waiting on top of the tallest building and just like sniping people, is like sniping
People or undead?
ghouls. So
Okay.
they're sentient. They're dumb, but they're sentient, and
they're already dead.
Oh,
mhm.
Daco doesn't quite deem the undead as necessarily.
They're not part of your constituents.
Yeah.
Apparently, most of the party doesn't, as is exemplified by the acid pit.
I didn't push him in.
Brutus would never.
It was an experiment.
Uh-huh.
Daco's gonna kind of just watch and ensure that the dragon restricts itself to the undead menace.
Okay.
Because if it were to stray away from that towards less necrotic individuals, then he would feel the need to intervene.
Okay. So are you just hanging out there? Are you gonna?
I mean, I've got 2 missed sessions to make up for, so I guess I had time to hang out there.
Okay. Well,
I don't know which way time goes that way, but yeah.
it's a minute there is you're not in the prison anymore, so it's not that. But a minute there is 2 minutes out in the outer world.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'm in stakeout mode.
okay. So yeah, for you it hasn't even really like you guys got back pretty quick. For you it hasn't even really been a full day yet because they basically defeated the Phoenix the next day. So, for those that were at the Phoenix fight, what do you guys want to do?
Have we rested from said Phoenix fight? Or is it the same day?
It's still technically the same day. You haven't taken your long rest yet, and the Phoenix fight itself took all of it was 5 rounds, so
Yeah,
what 30 seconds?
We did a lot better with that when it wasn't just 2 people.
Yeah.
That went a lot better.
Well, I think Zashi was assisting Whistler carry Sandy's body, probably towards Sister Ayame. Pretty sure Brutus would follow us to supervise whatever was going to happen.
Probably not right away, though. Probably not right to Sister Ayame.
Okay.
He probably would have tried to hide the body first.
hide it like back in its hole?
If you want to hide the body and Zashi realizes that's what you're doing, she's going to lead you to the holy ground that's actually in our location and put it in one of the crypts.
Well, you get your location is a church, so I mean, you could.
No, I'm talking about the crypts, the holy ground that
Oh,
went through
the
much
the
earlier.
trap area. Okay.
Oh,
Zashi knows where the traps are.
yeah.
Okay.
We figured that out by throwing warhammers around.
Not
how
taking
far is
him.
that?
So it's in our property, but it's not at the church. It's actually further south than.
I'd have to consult the map directly, but it's about 50 feet from you guys' church.
I has
As
map here.
the crow flies, like it's not.
So yeah, he's not going to want to bring it back to our land.
Okay. Zashi will point out to Whistler that the only people that know of the crypts are actually herself and Brutus in the current party.
Okay, so this isn't the traps with the diamond that.
No, that's the.
It is, but
Yeah,
most
that's what
of
it
the
is.
party wasn't there with us. They ran away.
Yeah, because I got scared by the
Storm was there.
air presence.
Storm was there.
Yeah, Storm
And if
is.
Storm knows and Brutus knows, that's
gonna
not where
work.
Sandy's going.
All right. So Zashi will follow your lead then, wherever you want to bring his body.
Okay. Yeah, he's probably just gonna find a empty house. It looked like the body. Okay.
I would need a roll for you to determine how the body looks. A medicine roll would be fine.
Okay. Because you'd said last time that it was like not going to decay now or something.
Well, yeah, that you. I mean, functionally, yeah. I don't know, but I don't know if Whistler knows that.
Oh, okay.
We just know it wasn't decayed at all from when it.
Yeah, it was pristine.
Brand new sandstone.
Yeah, he knows. It's basically like somebody had a gentle, like permacasted gentle repose on the body.
Okay. He also wants to detect magic.
Mm-hmm.
Paying specific attention to the corpse's missing ear, where the token was given to Monk.
Okay. Yeah, no real. I mean, the detect magic obviously shows the gentle repose layer, but there's no enchantment, nothing. There's nothing fey about anything.
Okay. And then yeah, I mean then he'd want to go see Ayame, but he wants. Mostly, I don't want to do this without Terry here.
Yeah, I know.
That does make it complicated.
So I'll
Terry, complicate things? What?
well, no, because he has to make a choice. So,
Absent or present, all the time.
anyways, but you do come to Ayame. You know, well, Whistler would notice Ayame is not in good shape. She looks exhausted, as though she straight up looks like she's dying. Like she's used a lot of energy over the past 3 days.
Protecting all of Malys.
Is she still surrounded by the people, the other hobgoblins that were chanting with her? I mean, does she have like a?
Yes. In fact, she's kind of like leaning on one right now. Like when, like she's covered in sweat, and she's just like, "Oh, thank you so much. You have saved this town, and you have saved my patron.
Happy to
If
help.
there's anything I can do for you,
Would you mind dying to res my friend?
He takes the diamond out.
oh, you found another one. You would like one of your friends resurrected? At which point, Lou was like, "No, sister, you can't. It, you're not strong enough to perform such a ritual." And she responds like, whether I perform it or not, I will not be able to recover from this child." She takes the diamond. Who would you like to resurrect?
And he'll. Says he
By the way,
didn't
the
body.
assistant is giving you a horrible look right now.
Which Zashi's there with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I'm here with you. I believe he wants to bring back Sandy, the soul you used. At least I think it was you, who to hold the phoenix back until we could handle it.
Are you sure that he wants to come back? He
No, we're not
seemed
sure.
set on a certain destiny when
We are not sure. Unless, and I turn towards Whistler, unless you've communicated with him in the afterlife somehow.
I could.
No, but Whistler will produce Sandy's letter.
Mm.
It's the one that's in our in the Google Docs.
Okay.
Which basically says, yeah, Sandy's really depressed and he's sorry that he couldn't save Whistler, but he had this whole plan to save his sister. So
Okay. Sure. Well, I will. Perhaps I will spend the next few days contacting my god, and we can ask his soul directly before we expend such a resource on something that maybe doesn't want to happen.
And Whistler will just will just kind of turn and look at Zashi.
I'll shrug. It makes sense if Sandy has found peace and is not wanting to return. We're not going to be able to force him, and I don't think it would be right to force him.
Then I will let me get some rest, and I will see if I can contact him. And she just kind of nods to her assistant, who basically helps her get to her little cot in the back of the church. She lays down. She's still covered in sweat, and she doesn't really promptly fall asleep, but
Did she take the diamond?
yeah.
Guess we'll just have to wait to hear from her. And we could probably hire the little frog courier if Sandy doesn't choose to come back, to at least try to find his sister.
Frog courier?
That really fast
Yep.
courier that showed up earlier who managed to find everyone no matter where they were.
Yep. Bleep.
Oh yeah.
A little grung that runs around every once in a while.
Whistler might not know about Bleep. She's been using Bleep services on occasion to send letters and things.
Go find so and so here.
He's my mass communication solution for.
He's an avatar of Hermes.
Yeah,
Kind of.
It's perfect.
Kind of looks like it, actually. Okay, so So, is there anything else anyone wants to do?
Oh yeah, Zashi will go and find Clevie and let him know that she thinks it's time to pass out dividends to everyone that has shares, so that they can actually invest in the various properties that we've been and enterprises we've been getting involved in.
Okay. So Kalivi will go ahead and divest of your guys' finances. How much is that? Because you have the spreadsheet.
Yep. So does everyone want to leave like 1,000 gold in the treasury for paying our followers and whatnot, and keep going with this, but divest like the rest of it so that everyone can actually start doing some of the things that maybe you guys wanted to?
It was at 1,000 each or 1,000 total?
Nope, just 1,000 in the treasury. It would still
Oh.
leave 2,946 and decimal 75 to divest between everyone.
I mean, I'm okay leaving some in if we think 1,000's a good number.
I don't really care, but
Mhm.
I kind of thought part of the reason that we were doing this was just so that we didn't have to track it anymore.
Yeah,
You'd still have to track it. So
I don't
that's a good
really
point,
want.
actually, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really want to track it anymore.
Yeah, then divest it all. Screw
Just
it.
divest it all.
just divest
Yeah,
it all.
don't bother with it. No worries.
Okay, so
The people who care will be able to, or will be willing to help pay to take care of everybody.
all right, I will do
And
the
if they
math
don't, they're
and
out of the crowd.
let you guys know. All right, so 2,000.
Okay, wait. Well, she's doing that.
Sorry, guys.
That's all right.
That's okay. We're not going to spend it right now anyway. You could probably do it after the stream.
Yeah.
I do have a question I would want to ask. Oh my god, I'm blanking on his name.
Describe him.
No. Huh?
Describe him. Who?
The shop owner with the reagents and the magic stuff.
Abernathy.
Abernathy, thank you. I kept hearing apothecary in my head. I was like, no, that's an occupation, not a name.
Oh, he is the apothecary too. So
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, that's not. But there are some letters. Anyway, I would want to go and talk to him and ask him. Oh yeah, I guess I'll just be like, hi.
Oh, hello.
Do you have? Is there a way to instantly communicate with someone even if you're really far away?
Yes, although I don't have any in stock right now.
Oh, do you know where I could get one?
I
What
could.
is it?
It's these things called sending stones.
Oh.
I could make them for you if you would like. I'm just going to need materials.
Oh, what materials? I could get them.
I need 2 rubies of worth
Ooh.
50 gold each.
Do I actually already have a ruby? Oh, damn it. I got excited. Sorry, I thought I already had a ruby. Okay, 2 rubies.
That's about it. Everything else I have in stock.
Oh, okay, so you just don't have any rubies. Do you think anyone in town might have some?
I mean, there's mines to the north of town. Somebody probably has some rubies. I don't know if they would sell them to you. Plautus probably has a bunch.
Okay. Hmm. I don't want to talk to Claudius. No.
Technically,
Can I ask,
Plautus isn't even in town right
yeah,
now.
that's right. We don't know where he went. Well, thank you. I'll be back, and I guess I'll go ask Kaylee maybe, since
Kaylee looks at. I don't really carry gemstones on hand. Most of the time, I asked the dwarves or any of the miners for special shipments. Do you want me to order some?
Yeah. How soon do you think you could get those in?
We get resupplied about once a week. We're actually due for a shipment. The Phoenix kind of cut us off for a bit. So now that it's safe, I will send a message, and we should have them in 3 days.
That'd be perfect. Yeah. What kind of down payment do you need? I know how this works.
If It's a small town. If you stiff me,
Finally.
I'll find you.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course.
And I'm good. I guess I'll go find Storm and see if he wants to get a bite to eat or something. Or if he's doing something.
I will mention the town is like, with the exception of Abernathy and Kaylee and the people at the church, the town is still basically empty right now.
Okay.
Okay. Once Sashi is done talking to Clevie, she'll go and talk to Kaylee and then Abernathy.
Okay. Why does she need to talk to Kaylee and Abernathy? Like, you said Kaylee first?
Mm-hmm.
Is anyone else wanting to talk to Kaylee? So we just out of
Do it all
curiosity.
at once.
Yeah.
Well, Whistler's just following Zasha around, so he doesn't want to talk to Kaylee, but he'll be there if she is.
Okay. Oh, Sashi, your friend Brutus just left.
Oh, okay. I'll need to catch up with him in a minute. See, I knew we could do it. So, hold out the little antler.
Oh, of course. So is this the did we just lose somebody? We lost Chris.
Yep, we lost Chris.
She takes the antler. I'm like, oh, I could definitely make a handle out of this for some type of weapon. What were you thinking about?
Oh, I was thinking of it for a rapier.
I mean, it won't do much. You might get some mild control over. Might get some nice lightning damage out of it. But it's not gonna be a lot.
That's okay. I mean, every little bit helps with some of the things we've been coming up against.
I mean, because you're just wanting a handle. I can knock that out right now. I just would need your rapier, and we just replace your handle with this.
Hand over my rapier.
At which point she sits down. I thought you said you had something else.
And she'll pull out. She kind of like sees Whistler, and if he's paying attention, she just kind of shrugs, pulls out the whisker. It's like, I was hoping to make maybe a wand or something with this actually for him.
Wands are. I can make the shell. You'll probably have to talk to Abernathy about actually infusing this. But I can tell you, this will give you some nice control over water, if that's what you're looking at.
Yes, it is.
Is there anything particularly you'd want it constructed out of?
Turn to Whistler. Do you have a preference?
And he's sitting there. He's like grazing, eating candy off the shelves. And he hands you a candy stick, like a peppermint stick.
Odd, but okay.
Kaylee looks at the peppermint stick and is like, well, this probably wouldn't make the most robust wand in the world. Why don't I make something that looks similar to this?
That would be perfect. Thank
That's
you.
adorable.
So she actually she sets aside, she takes the whisker from you and sets aside 2 ingots. One is kind of a weird, like, reddish, it looks like rusted iron, although it's not actually rusted iron. And the other is this sterling white metal, and sets it aside with the whisker. But then she just really quick just shapes a handle and redoes your rapier. Your rapier now is now considered a magical weapon, and but it doesn't have an attack or damage bonus. Well, it does have a damage bonus. You do an additional 1d2 points of lightning damage.
Yay! Thank you.
It's a taser sword.
It is. I love it. how much do I owe you for this work?
She looks at the handle. The handle was nothing. Like it was 5 gold. You could have done it yourself. I'm just better with handles than. But looks at the wand. The wand. So for me, the shell is. I mean, it's going to cost me 25 gold just in materials. I would say 30 gold for the wand shell. You're going to have to talk to Abernathy about the actual enchantment process of it, though.
Yep, that's okay. I'll go talk to him next. I'm sure it's going to take you a little bit to make the shell.
It won't take me too long. It's going to be a pretty easy forge, but I have to heat up the metal, and that red metal is a bitch to get hot enough. So it's going to take a few hours.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Of course.
And I will pay her the gold and then go find Abernathy and talk to him about infusing the shell with the whisker.
You kind of what? Tucker, what's up?
Oh, when she hands the gold, I hand her the half of the peppermint stick that I haven't eaten.
I love the idea that this thing is going to look like a peppermint stick.
It's so good.
Yep.
Okay, so Abernathy. Oh, hey. Was the remove curse potions useful? He's actually directing this to Whistler.
We didn't end up having to use it.
Oh,
surprisingly.
I don't have it.
Mm.
Zashi's got them.
No. Okay, if Zashi has it, she'll pull it out. How much would you charge for me to keep this?
Now Scott has to calculate. Abernathy actually would have said it directly, but see, it's a 3rd level spell, so that would normally be. Yeah. Okay. So 90 gold.
All right. Yep. I will pay that. I have a feeling that it might be useful down the road.
That's usually a good bet. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Well, Kaylee is working on making the shell for me, but I was hoping that you'd be able to infuse the wand that she's making me with this river dragon whisker for Whistler.
He looks at the whisker. It'll take a bit, but yeah, I can manage that. It's gonna cost you though. This is some high level artificing.
How much is it going to cost?
750 gold.
750. Okay. Well, as a down payment, I can give you 500, and I will get the other 250 for you as soon as I can.
Does Abernathy have any candy on his counter?
Oh yeah.
I take some.
Give me a perception check when you do that. Probably eating random stuff at an alchemist shop is probably not the best idea in the world.
You eat one and start burping fire.
Great idea.
Turn into a little hot goblin.
Okay, so on the counter, there's actually multiple candies. One is it looks like a cinnamon gummy candy shaped weirdly like an owl bear.
I want it.
There's like black licorice, and then there's also it would look like a lemon head, only it's green.
Okay.
So what do you want?
Licorice.
Okay. You pop one in your mouth. He's like, "Hey, okay, good. That's the cheap one. It's licorice. It's straight up licorice."
Yay.
Well, Whistler, is there anything else you'd like to do while we wait to hear from Mayame? All right, let's go get some food then. I'm sure Brutus will be somewhere where there's food. If the copper quarrel's still here, that's probably
Copper
where.
Coral, the building doesn't even exist right now.
Yeah, it's like that's
I
still weird.
start to walk off, turn around, lay a gold piece on the counter, and take the whole like little bucket of licorice.
Okay. You now have a jar of licorice.
This is just making me want candy.
Mm.
Normally it would, except that I actually hate black licorice, so like.
See, I love black licorice. Anything star anise, yum.
So. Okay, so Daco, are you heading back?
How into this is the dragon and his feast of undead? Daco's just more worried that he will leave this feast behind and look for something more living.
Give me an insight check.
I have a horrible insight for a spy.
That is surprising.
It seems satiated right now.
Okay, then Daco will first go to the sheriff's station, at which point he will assign a null the duty of keeping an eye on the dragon to ensure that it restricts itself to the undead flavor of the month.
Okay, so I'm gonna fast forward to the night when Daco will actually be able to show up.
Party doesn't start till I get there, you know what I'm saying?
I'll immediately start
And I am
going
doing some temporal trickery here. I don't know if Daco has a way to actually move quickly through the city, so.
I believe he does now. Let me see if I took that.
surf on the sand, right? Something like that.
I don't know if I took a. I've got land leap at the very least, but you know, no, I didn't take a movement. I was more interested in metal bending.
Okay, I'm just using some temporal trickery. We'll just say that you arrive like midnight. So we can. So you arrive back. The town is still unbelievably empty. But you're I would assume that you guys are resting at the church at your guys' stronghold.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Sure. I'd be keeping an eye out for Doc.
Or at Daco's place.
Yep.
So yeah, Brutus, you see Daco looking fairly exhausted. I would give you a point of exhaustion, but you're just going to clear it when you rest. So, but looking fairly exhausted, but he shows up no worse for wear beyond the exhaustion.
Pat him on the back and tell him how we took care of the Phoenix and update him on what seems to be the situation with Sandy.
He would get a very serious expression. Did you disrupt the resting place of Grim?
No. Although I don't know if we checked on that. I don't remember where Grim was.
So Zashi knows because she actually helped Daco.
Yeah,
I don't
forget.
think Brutus knows that we actually put Grim's body in the path of the Phoenix to allow the Phoenix to eat it.
Then yeah, I have no idea. I'll just say that I didn't see them.
You should ask Zashi.
You should do.
So unless anyone has anything else, morning comes.
No, I will say that Whistler doesn't assign her, but Tabra is reburying our risen friends
Yeah.
and other hound people.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. If she wanted help, Jay would offer to help her, at least with the labor. She may not have any holy abilities.
I would actually say Tabra was probably doing that most nights, like most days. Like she'd find the bodies and then rebury them.
Well, she was probably going out and actually, like, before we got back, like, if there were people we knew, she was probably killing them again and then reburying them.
Yeah. So yeah, the next morning comes. By the way, you picked. I will say, Zashi, you would have picked up your commission piece. It's a beautiful twisted wand with a cane at the very back end, and the twists are white and red. And then you brought it to Abernathy, who in the morning is able to give you You now have, well, I know it's Whistler's, but you now have a wand of control water. It has 5 charges that replenish each morning.
Okay. And I still owe Abernathy 250.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows I'm good for it, hopefully.
We get into enough shenanigans. Get the
Yeah,
money.
I'm gonna have to get into some more shenanigans to pay for that. But once I pick it up, I will track Whistler down and give it to him.
Is Zashi broke again now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Do you want to go to the mines and try and dig up some money?
Whistler will take it and he will give you like a jar that has like 3 black licorice left.
Yep. She laughs, takes one of them, and eats one of the licorices and hands the jar back.
Okay, and Tucker, that is an attunement item because it's a wand, but it allows you to cast control water basically 5 times per day, which is crazy powerful, but
We're also in the desert.
yeah.
Hey, when we go back, beyond the wall, there's a whole lot of water there.
Yeah.
And we were talking about going down into the subway area.
What with all the water?
Yeah.
So with a wand like that, do you have to have the spell on your list in order to use it?
Not that wand.
Okay.
Technically, anyone
Do
can
you
use.
have to be a caster to use it?
You have to have. This is really weird. You have to have spell slots. You don't have to have it on your spell. So yeah, you need to be a cast. You basically have to have some basic understanding of how magic works.
Okay.
And ideally, you should have wand as an available focus. You have to be skilled in wand use, which is basically wizards and sorcerers and warlocks.
There just might be people who have more attunement slots than I have available. So.
But it was a gift. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh no, I took it. It's pretty. Looks like my peppermint stick.
Yep.
It weirdly actually there is a subtle enchantment that Kaylee put on it, and it oddly tastes like a peppermint stick too.
I was just gonna say you choose on it as
Oh
like
my
under the
God.
stick.
I love it.
He can't bite through it because it's metal, but he just carries it around like in his beak.
I think we've all learned our lesson about eating magic wands, though, and what. Just gonna throw that out there.
That was a very spectacular fart on Sim's part.
Okay, so where are you guys going? Zashi is not only broke but now in debt.
Yep, I am. Totally worth it, though.
You have about a week before Ayame is going to be able to get you your answer.
Well, Dako's first stop of the day will be back at the sheriff's office to make sure, all the shifts are set up with the gnolls and everyone's doing their job and doesn't need.
There's one gnoll there that is like surrounded by really, really weirdly armored kobolds. The gnoll looks like he's about to eat one of the kobolds because he's just so frustrated.
Well, convenient that I'm with, because I'm always with Dako. And those are my kobolds.
Zashi did want to talk to Resplendent about hiring a couple of the kobolds to carry stuff for us.
Okay. Resplendent is... They're not the best... I mean, I guess they could do that. Please don't get my kobolds killed.
I'll do my best not to, but I was thinking that since we're going in various places, they might be able to find things that you would like. And we do sometimes need help carrying stuff. I mean, we found these beautiful paintings this last time, which I have no idea who to talk to about appraising them and maybe doing a auction for them. But I will figure that out.
Resplendent just kind of blinks at you about the auction thing. She seems to have no interest in that at all because they're not paintings of her. So
Yep, it's not of her. Why would she care?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
At the sheriff's station, Dako actually pulls out a silver coin and Metal bends that into a higher ranking badge for the Gnoll that was on duty,
Mm-hmm.
and promotes him from bronze to silver.
Okay.
And
The
then
Knoll looks pleased, but is also like literally trying to shoo his like the kobolds out, and you
But
can
in
tell there
response
are a
to
lot
that-
more kobolds here than you ever hired.
So in response to that, I'm gonna look at the kobolds and ask them which one is the senior most kobold.
All of them point to themselves.
Awesome.
Just
I
pick the
will make
closest one.
bronze badges for each of them and inform them that they now answer directly to the silver badge Gnoll.
Okay, they all are ecstatic about the bronze badge, but then like they all have like makeshift clothes, so like some of them like attach it to their whatever hat they have on,
It's all
and
good.
like
They're
some people
badged.
put it on their back. One person takes it and like chucks it at the at one of the pillars like a throwing star.
His weapon of choice is now his badge.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will inform them all of the rules of being deputized in this city, and that they now answer directly to said Noel, and his word shall be treated as my word unless I personally come down here and contradict him.
But
Well,
all
they
he
are in
at
the
which point in the notes, but all he usually says is like we bring them prisoners, and he just asks if they're tasty, and so you're constantly so we should taste everybody in town. Is that your orders?
No.
Yeah.
If you do, it is a lick, not a bite.
No, he's still. Brutus is just in the corner, like, I don't think you're supposed to just lick people you don't know. Maybe it's different here. I
If
don't
they're
know.
criminals, they get licked.
But how do you know?
But which actually Noel actually, which reminds me, what are criminals? The like Savre always just said to anyone that like did things that she didn't like, but she was always here to say what she didn't like. You're never around, so we've been kind of just like
You've abandoned us, Daddy.
basically all we've been doing is getting the drunk people and throwing them in jail.
That's a good start. I will ensure you have a codified ledger of all the laws that will now be enforced in Malys going forward by the end of the week. But for now, maintain the peace. Anyone who's caught fighting or doing anything damaging to the city shall be locked up until trial.
Or one another.
It kind of looks like, well, if you were going by cop fighting, he like here is a list of the people that have been disturbing the peace, and he hands you a list, and it's basically all of you guys' followers.
This law goes into effect at dawn. I'll have words with them. The only authorized fighting will be at Daco's place.
Oh, then Jay's fine. Never mind. Okay, good. What is that type of- I got you good.
And now I just.
Let me know if you need help writing down rules.
Like, all right, you're the boss.
Yes, I am.
At which point, all the kobolds start filing out and going about their rounds.
Pat them on the head as they go.
Mhm.
And then I'll look at Brutus and be like, Brutus, I need you to break it to Zashi that she needs to codify laws for the city that I'm supposed to enforce because I don't have that kind of patience.
Okay.
Excellent.
I will say about this time, the first caravan of people start coming back into town, and the kobolds are actually setting up a checkpoint. And as word spread around, you can see that they're like handing papers, and then like as they like check people in, a lot of people are getting licked on like the
It's
hand.
gonna become the new like cheek kiss social greeting. They're like, "Oh, is this what we do now? Is this how we keep the evil away by licking people?"
And there is one kobold, and they're talking Draconic to each other. But like anyone who speaks Draconic, someone like salt, like they write down their name, and it'll be like salty, sweet, sour, like.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh, I love it so much.
Most of the people coming back in town do not look happy after this exchange. Like, we just
Shocking.
got tasted by a kobold. This is very weird.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, you hear,
You
I
know
thought
those
this crap
kobolds
was
have
going to
bad breath.
stop after Savra died.
They thought wrong.
Unfortunately, they're under the law of giggles. If it's funny, too bad. Deal with it.
But otherwise, so the town is slowly getting back into normalcy.
With licking as a new added
The
oddity.
new normal.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes social changes are more abrupt than you would think.
When you have a veritable army of kobolds out there
Yeah,
setting the new example.
licking whoever you say to lick. In this case, being
There are. It is an entire tribe at this point of kobolds. So there's about 60 of them.
Excellent.
Jay's gonna spend as much time with them as she can stand. I don't know. Yeah, did Zashi want to do anything to earn some money, or
Well, I was thinking before we head to the subway, maybe I think Plautus might be the one that would have contacts to appraise the paintings.
Plautus is still not back.
All right. Well, that'll just have to wait. We'll just hang him up in our church for now and go. I'm up for heading out to the subway or somewhere else while people get settled back into town.
How many
What if
of
I
those
hang up the paintings in
trapped
Doc's
safes are left?
Okay, two people were talking on each other. So, Chester, what was your question?
How many of those trapped safes are left? You know, the metal ones that previously I couldn't earthbend because they were metal.
4.
Because I can metal bend now, and I will let Zashi know that I'm fairly certain I can do some new things with those safes if she wants.
Sure, I'm up for that.
Okay, give me 4 D100 rolls, please.
You want me to do them, Zashi, or do you want to do them?
No, you go ahead.
You're the one there.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so good news.
Whole range.
You found 250. You found 2 rubies worth 100 gold each. That's the 89. The 25 was empty. But the bad news is I need to make 2 dexterity saving throws.
Okay, I can do that. 1 and 2.
don't also lose a hand. That's my thing.
Why won't you click? There we go.
Okay, so you succeed 1, fail 1, but do you have evasion yet?
I don't think that I get evasion ever.
Oh yeah, you're. I keep on thinking
Not
you're
a
a
real
monk.
monk.
You're not actually a monk. Okay.
I'm not a real monk.
I'm just gonna, yeah. So you succeed 1, fail 1. So here's the one you failed. You take 14 points of fire damage as that one explodes,
Fucking firebenders.
and then you take 7 points of fire damage as that one you were actually somewhat ready for.
Okay. Daco returns.
There's a
back to
bunch of
Zashi, like,
smoke
all
billowing out of the safe.
singed. I return to Zashi like all singed and just like gross looking, and I just like hand over these rubies.
Thank you, Taco.
You owe me a coat of laws by Friday. And then
All right, I will.
somewhere to lay down, to wash up and lay down.
I will work on.
See, now you're earning money.
I'll offer to buy one of those rubies from Zashi full price. I'll give you 100 gold for one of them.
Yep. Zashi's totally up for that.
Are you gonna
No, Marco?
get your
What the
sending
hell?
stones then, Shayna?
Yeah, and I'll
Oh.
go and let Kaylee know I no longer need them since it's same day. I assume she can cancel the order.
Yeah, she actually pulls out her sending stone and
Do you
Oh,
explain to Daco what you're doing?
Oh yeah, I'm assuming I was there with you when
Daco will actually. How much do they have to be worth?
50 apiece.
50 apiece, because I've got 1,000 gold worth of miscellaneous gems. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and give you
Never mind then.
1,000 gold worth of miscellaneous gems to outfit the party.
Okay, so you guys basically have radios now.
Yep. Well, I definitely, yeah. All I care about is if I have one that connects to Daco's. And
Okay.
I guess now if I can have one that connects to Jay as well, but
So Abernathy will be like, well, with this amount of gems, I can fit them into jewelry or something, so you don't actually have to hold them when you talk to them. So,
can I get a nose ring?
Uh-huh.
Brutus as a bullet, and I have a big bull ring.
So every time you sneeze,
Yes.
everybody hears
We're gonna get like our ears.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. What's up?
Cool.
That's what's happening now. So
All right.
There you go. Everyone's got a sending stone now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is not an attunement item. It is just you guys all have
everyone?
all the. I'm assuming you mean all the primary members. 1,000 gold isn't enough to give to.
because of 1,000 gold would get 10 rubies, and it's 2 apiece.
Yeah. That would be
I'll let
that would be
Bruce worry about
20.
the
I guess that
logistics
could
of it.
cover your entire group.
Yay.
So
Fun.
now I want to like it is a network of it. So and it is like radios. So when you guys transmit, you transmitting to everybody.
Oh, I don't want that. I specifically want one that connects only to Daco. I will pay the 100 golds and have a special one made that's just connected to him.
Okay.
Do I need to do that?
Yeah.
If I will. Okay. So yeah, I do give Zashi 100 gold then for her rubies and do that separately.
Okay. Yeah. Basically,
So
Abernathy
we're just gonna have a
will.
private network, and then we've got a public network.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Oh man, now I have to have a nose ring and something else. Damn it! I was real happy about my
Abernathy can actually just use the ruby dust to like give you 2 channels on the sending stick.
Or
Oh, that works.
click, click. If I rotate it in my nose to the other side, then I'll change its channel.
It's more like you tap it; it slightly changes color.
So yeah, if you Whistler when I sneeze, then oopsie, wrong channel. Love it. Everyone has to
Daco
get
just
used to
got
saying
2
it over.
earrings.
This thing is really funny for Whistler too, like because
I know that's what I was thinking. Like, you're gonna give this to Whistler?
If Whistler doesn't want it, he can give to one of his
Well, he
followers.
can hear at least. He just can't reply.
well, you can still reply. You just don't have any idea who, like, because we'll just
You're
be
just
like,
gonna hear weird, strange sounds all the time.
Weird clicking and chirping.
yeah.
Does anyone know how to silence his?
He uses receive only.
How do we code that in?
So you guys headed to the subway, or you headed somewhere else, or?
My only question was, did we want to save the subway for when Rack is back, since he's the water one, or do we want me to Jaeger him if we're just going to do it anyway?
Go ahead and Jaeger him.
Okay. Well, for me, I already got him open.
Cool.
So while she's doing all that, I'm taking a short rest because, you know.
Because
well,
you
then
took a crap ton of fire damage trying to.
Yeah.
We'll leave when you're done with that then.
And Storm has figured out that he has somehow
That's not a real world.
gained a Whistler.
Like Whistler's following around Storm.
Yeah.
When the fuck did this happen?
Yeah, Storm wonders when this happened too.
So while Zashi's waiting for everyone to like gather up and for Brutus's nose ring to be made, I'm gonna go ahead and cast Find Steed.
Okay.
Ooh.
What does your steed look like?
So it looks very similar to a goat, except its hindquarters are all scaled.
Okay.
It's a real big goat.
But you're still just using the warhorse stat sheet, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not doing anything weird with it. It's just a rideable big goat. It just has some scales on it.
Okay.
A scaly goat.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are. You do that.
Okay. Well, I guess when Daco's healed up, we start heading to the subway.
Okay. So Oben is the one that's gonna have to show you where it's at. It's at the southern area of your, like, your region. He locates basically. It looks like one of the standard buildings that have been destroyed, but he's able to clear away some rubble, and there leads a hatch down into the ground. So disguise self and mage armor from Whistler.
I didn't mean to hit disguise self, just mage armor.
Okay. And you're just casting on yourself, right? Or are you casting on somebody else?
Actually, I'm pretty sure mage armor is.
Mage armor is touch.
It's touch only, but it's on myself.
Okay. Yeah, it used to, like in other editions it was self, but yeah, in this edition it's actually a touch spell, which actually can be really useful for rogues because mage armor is actually better than any dex armor they can actually get. They get magic armor.
Go find traps.
Anyways, so yeah, you guys go into the subway. It's ungodly dark down there. Who doesn't have dark vision?
I have tremor sense, not dark vision.
Okay.
I do not have dark vision.
Okay.
Oh, I do have dark vision.
Okay, so Whistler, you cannot see.
Okay, so yeah, I cast light on the wand.
Okay. So
that's in my mouth.
Mm-hmm. So you have a glowing peppermint stick in your mouth. Oh, awesome.
And I'll be bonus actioning with each step to send out that sonar spike for 100-foot tremor sense.
Okay. Basically, you. So you would have descended about 60 feet. Weirdly, this place does not seem flooded. You do notice a lot of condensation on the walls, and it should be flooded. That is one thing you kind of notice is that, like, you're underneath where the water table is, but it seems to be designed in a way to keep itself dry. But there, as you descend, you end up finding yourself on like a platform, and then you can tell through your tremor sense. The rest of you that have dark vision, you can kind of see the shapes because this is total darkness. So it's like dim light for those of you with dark vision. So you can make indistinct shapes out, and it's there looks like there's a rail system. There's no cart on it, but there looks like a rail system, and then the two tunnels leading multiple ways.
There is light.
Oh yeah, and then there's a light of Whistler's glowing
candy cane.
Horns do still glow as well.
So all of you can see pretty distinctly 20 feet ahead of you. But the cart is just outside of that reach, so you can see it with the dim light.
I will describe to them that there's a cart ahead.
Or not cart, sorry. There's not a cart. The rail system. There is no cart.
The rail system, very well.
Okay.
So are rail systems, are they something, obviously they exist here in this like super advanced old civilization, but are they something that we would recognize?
If you spend any time in any kind of mine, most mines have some type of.
Okay.
What's up? And I know what they are.
Weirdly, actually, Brutus, your mines wouldn't have rail systems, though.
Would they just have been using us for that?
Yep.
Oh, okay, never mind then. What is this strange device? Where are all the slaves?
Well, not everybody has Wookiee slaves, so here. Minotaur slaves. So.
Wookiee.
You can tell this is a stop. It's not like a major junction, so it seems like it's like there's only two ways to go.
I want to go check it out. Zashi's probably spent no time in mines, so she has no idea what this
And it goes out 100 feet. So you guys gonna go into the using your basic sense of direction. Actually, Brutus's sense of direction, because while underground, you can tell the rail system. One leads into the city proper. The other seems to lead away from the city.
I'll share that information.
Cool.
Daco will look towards the city because it's important to him to know what's underneath his constituents.
Okay. So as you kind of walk, as you get a little bit down there, like there's no twists and turns. It's a subway tunnel. Um, about after you've been walking for about 30 minutes, you come across another platform. But also, Daco, your tremor sense is pinging up a storm as though like 1,000 tiny feet are running across the floor and
Daco's
walls.
gonna like hand up, look at the others, and just whisper, "A lot of feet."
A lot of feet. Okay.
Ready my weapon.
I do imagine the kobolds that I brought to carry stuff are actually riding on my goat behind us, by the way.
Mm-hmm. The kobolds are actually like weirdly mesmerized by something on the wall.
What is it?
And as you look, before you thought it was just like the structure of the wall, but now you can kind of it looks like there's some type of weird language written on the wall, but it's nothing any of you would have possibly run into. Does anyone though speak Viren? I don't think so. I don't think any of you speak Viren.
No, I don't.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like anything you guys have seen before.
I take out my little book and I copy it though.
Okay. But yeah, actually, go ahead and give me an intelligence check, Whistler.
Just a straight intelligence roll.
Yes. I guess you could give me an intelligent insight check if you're proficient in insight.
Oh. Okay. This is actually one higher.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, actually. So you can't read it because you don't have any. However, there's a few things. First of all, it's a proto language. Or at least it starts out as one. Like it starts out with like emblematic. It's not phonetic at all. So most of it is drawings. But you can see it evolves rapidly into like a full language. You still can't read it, but you do start noticing numbers, like the like are probably numbers and like formulas for things. Like you can't quite tell what's going on, but it seems. You also notice that the language it started out very rough, and then like as you got deeper into it, it got cleaner and cleaner, and like the lines became more refined.
About how much text? Like, I mean, I know it's big on the wall, but how many like pages of text do I have to write down?
Just in this area, it would be in your visible spectrum of this, like where it started to where you are at this platform. I would say about 40 pages.
Okay, well, obviously he doesn't do that. So, but yeah, he just writes about a page of the cleanest stuff.
Okay. And Daco, you still just hear those, or you just
Are they
feel
getting
those.
closer, or do they just feel ahead?
They just feel ahead, and it's like sometimes it feels like they're getting closer, but it's more like they're moving around each other. They're not like.
Okay.
And what
I
is?
will try and articulate that I don't know that they are aware of our presence, but they are definitely a lot, and they are definitely moving in a rather chaotic fashion.
As you say, you say that.
Yes.
As you say that, in your guys' heads, not audibly, but all of you hear in your head oh no, we're aware. But you're not close enough for us to care about it.
Hello, who are you?
We are the swarm.
You are the swarm. Okay, what you doing down here?
Living, eating, theorizing.
Theorizing about what?
Oh, life, the universe. It's really boring down here.
42.
Well, if it's boring down here, why do you stay down here?
Don't.
It's bright out up there. People and loud. People always scream.
Why would they scream?
Because they address themselves as the swarm.
They probably scream in fear and misunderstanding and racism.
It's rude, frankly.
Well, yeah, I mean, think about how most people treat kobolds in the rest of the world. I mean, they're adorable.
By the way, your kobolds look terrified right now.
I'm gonna look at one of the kobolds and be like, "You've heard of the swarm?" And like nods that
They
way.
eat us. The swarm eats us.
Oh, are they big?
At
or
which
a
point
lot
in your
of
head
small
did you hear it? Kobold is pretty tasty.
things? So are they big or lots of small things?
Um.
I'm asking the kobold.
Well,
I like a kobold.
I mean, at the question of they're like oh, that's a good greeting. We've already met though to Whistler, and then looks at Daco. Oh no, they're about this big, individually. Individually, they're not a problem.
Cool.
The swarmy nature.
Yep. So, by the way, Kobold, since I promised Resplendent I would take care of you, if you want to run back up to the surface and just take care of camp, I'm all right with that.
They don't even hesitate. They just bolt.
I mean, we could request safe passage in theory because they can
Yeah.
hear us.
Yes. I mean, being able to communicate is
Where
a
are you
huge
going?
thing. We're exploring, trying to learn more about the old city and what happened to it.
I mean, I could. Do you have any questions? I wasn't exactly smart back then, but we do have a certain memory of those events.
Oh, yeah. If you have a certain memory of those events, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah,
Are
better if
we
I show
answering
you.
in our head or vocalizing?
No, still in your head that you're hearing this. Like, would you prefer we show you?
Yes.
You're gonna have to come closer then.
Excuse me, what is on the wall?
Oh, just
I like brain speak.
There.
I can do brain speak.
Wait, is
And
that
we're all
Whistler?
like, oh, that's Whistler?
and actually, you guys can actually hear Whistler on this through this thing because you're kind of linked to the mind right now.
Is he mimicking other voices in his head still, or is this like an independent voice that we've never heard before until just now?
That's up to Whistler. What does Whistler sound like in his head?
Tucker.
Sounds like Tucker in his head.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a different voice. It's a different voice. That's not really a voice. Actually, yeah. Yeah, you just like
I know telepathy is hard.
yeah. Yeah, but there's no voice to go with the telepathy because he's got no internal like of his own voice.
Mm-hmm.
So you just know what he's thinking. You can't like there's no hearing it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, so just I mean, we could project it into your brain directly, but that tends to cause people to explode. So
We'd rather not explode.
but to answer your question about that's our notes. It's a little archaic. Most of those theories have been proven false.
Okay.
Notes on what?
Oh, how to ascend to godhood. You know, typical things.
Did you figure it out?
Yes, but
Okay, I start walking towards the darkness.
okay.
Go follows closely.
Promise not to eat my little feathery friend. We'll come closer so long as you promise not to eat us.
Or explode us.
Yeah, please don't explode
Maim.
us.
We promise not to explode you in the next 2 minutes, but that really how long that promise lasts depends upon you.
Okay.
Well,
Is
I
this-
will.
Which 2 minutes?
Hmm?
Which 2 minutes? 2 minutes means a lot here.
That is true.
2 minutes as we are currently perceiving time.
As you're perceiving time, or as I'm perceiving time? Time is relative. Sorry, Doc.
Let's not get into a quantum mechanics discussion.
Doc can't play that game. Forget I said anything. He's not
That's
that.
why I'm having to sit here in silence in a really cool conversation, and it's infuriating.
I'm playing the wrong character for this conversation.
I was just typing that. Like, God damn it.
So yeah, they
I say, give me 1 minute. Then I count a minute.
Mhm. That's a
Okay,
minute.
Beck, how long was that?
That was a minute.
Just please to have our time to confirm.
So Zashi is walking forward into the darkness with
Yeah.
Whistler.
Okay, as you
Or-
guys get
go
kind of
behind her.
turn, you just see, for those of you with dark vision, you can actually, no, you would actually see the eyes before your dark vision got into it. It's just this swarm of red eyes, and then weird, like, also glowy, they're brains. They're tiny little glowy brains, and it's just thousands of them.
Jocko
Yeah,
will
Zashi-
immediately say, "Please let us know when we've hit the range you'd like us to stop at."
And it's like, that's good. You can see us. At which point, a like 3 globules of light get sent out so that you can actually kind of, and they move past the swarm so you can see the writhing rats on top of each other.
Yay!
And
Keep
then
your brains from getting dirty.
as it passes over, you can kind of tell that they're not exposed to the elements. It looks like it's almost like their
Membrane.
skull is transparent.
Oh, never mind. I see. You actually still have skulls.
So you can see how smart they are.
And at which point, between you and the swarm, those 3 goblets of light are like showcasing, and then like basically major images cast. And you see a elf in like white and blue robes, and he's looking over a rat and performing like cranial surgery on it.
Graphic.
This is how we were born. Back before the city fell.
Okay.
At which point, then the image shifts again. We were only one. We were very lonely. Our creator made a few more and then abandoned the project, and then you actually see him like just dumping rats into the sewer.
Aw, that's awful.
Can I swat at the projection of the guy?
Yeah,
I do. I
but
try to smack him.
we were strong enough to make others like us. And so you see like the swarm growing, and we became more and more aware. We've heard your travels above. Our various spies have reported back that you have been causing a ruckus in the city. So we thought we'd come meet you, and you finally came down to our area.
That was very courteous of you.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
You're curious.
Yes.
Yes.
I am curious.
Both
You
in
are
that
one,
you want to
and now
learn.
you're
things
many.
and
How many?
By last count, there is 176,211 of us.
Ah,
But we
Oh,
are
now
still
12.
one. We are
So this is not all of you.
no. This is an extension of us.
Who is the eldest among you, and how old are they?
We. Your question is complicated, for we are thousands of years old. However, if you're talking about biologically, the oldest in the swarm is 7 years old.
Ah. But the knowledge of what came before is preserved through your swarm network?
Yes,
It's like a cloud.
we preserve all that any of us have seen.
They are one.
Dako's
I
actually
am not my feathers.
Dako's gonna actually kind of take a knee.
That is
and
actually.
do go ahead.
Sorry, there's actually a. You are not the cells that compose your body, and Whistler is not his feathers. Each organic part is only. How old is your oldest cell? Maybe a month.
Probably.
What that means is Dako.
Yeah. Not. Zashi's not sure what cells mean.
Yeah. I would imagine the only one that might is Whistler.
I don't even think Whistler does.
Dako's gonna take a knee and just kind of hands open and kind of do a very minor earth bend, in just to pick up some dirt and show that he can do things. Have you ever met someone who can do this? And then kind of drops the earth back to where it was.
We have. Well, I mean, we can shape the earth, and you actually see they cast a spell at a piece of rock, 5 by 5 foot cube of the wall, extends out, and then they push it back.
But they're doing it as a spell, not.
Yeah,
bending.
they don't. But
I try and articulate the nuanced difference there.
they like. They actually seem interested because that's we're always interested in learning new things. Perhaps we will send one of our out and they can learn from you.
That would be spectacular. I had actually one of the things that I am personally looking for in the city of Malys is supposedly people who could do this with all of the elements once inhabited the city. So I'm looking for anything that may have been left behind to restore the old ways.
Unfortunately, we were not quite conscious. It took a while for us to become what we are, and by that point, the city had already begun its downward slope into its stupidity that caused its destruction.
That is a shame.
Yes. They cleared out the relics of our house. It was a powerful. What? Who is the god?
It's the god of magic, and the name is I'm blanking on the name of the god right now. But.
Yeah. But I'm going to share all that information with everybody while I'm connected.
Oh, so our cathedral, it's actually to the god of magic, Whistler? And that's why you've been working on restoring it.
And whatever they did was part of whatever they did to where time is not time here.
Yes, it was hubris from them. Their hubris, though, taught me a lesson about trying to attain godhood before you were ready.
And has the swarm yet become ready, or are they still...
The empty throne. We no longer crave the empty throne. There is... For even the gods are not true masters of their fate.
Is the empty throne in Malys or somewhere else?
The empty throne is... It is the... Has long stood... I'm trying to think of how they would phrase this. Sorry. The empty throne is simply what we call the seat that Obis once stood before his body became the abyss.
Dako is just like...
Interesting. Zashi goes, interesting.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How much does a polar bear weigh?
They would actually know this. I'm not gonna Google the weight of a polar bear though.
Okay.
They give you like the mean average.
Yeah, they give you a
of
mean
polar bear
and
weight.
actually they'd be like male, female, diet. Like they start listing off
Males
various.
450 kilograms, females 150 to 250 kilograms. Adult.
Yay, Google.
So yeah, they
Yay,
just start.
Google.
Swarm is Google.
And then I
Google is the
think
swarm.
I told you,
Brutus has a
five accomplishments.
question.
Oh, only when everyone's done with this line of question. I don't want to interrupt.
Actually, they. We know of the minotaurs, the creatures that they are similar to us, but their motives are alien to even our consciousness. We do not understand them.
Who does?
They seem to only want destruction. We do not understand their end goal. It makes no sense to us. They play a zero-sum game.
Do you know if there are others who have gotten out? If there are a group of us somewhere?
There are those that escape, such as yourself, through various channels, but unfortunately, while we are creatures of knowledge, the specifics of individuals escape us. We only learn through the conversations and through our spies.
So there isn't a unified rebellion of any kind forming somewhere that you know of?
Perhaps our children, our wayward children, could answer that question better. They have spread throughout this planet and have encountered the Formians more than any other species, aside from obviously yourselves.
Wayward children?
An old experiment, and you actually see that major image is still there, shifts again, and you see the swarm taking normal sized rats and awakening them and casting a large on them, and you see the birth of the first Viren.
Okay.
We wished to have more contact with the outside world, but unfortunately, there are too many barriers for us.
Is there a way I can help with that? You
Yeah, I
shouldn't
was
have to be
thinking.
trapped below ground if you don't want to be.
I was thinking maybe we could
You're
take
about to
some
get a
of
big
your
glowing brain.
members with us to help you explore. We could have little pocket rats.
I was actually going to propose the same thing, that we give you. You have to be careful. We are unfortunately extremely susceptible to disease. It's one of our major issues.
I might be able to help a little bit with that as we continue on.
This guy, and I'll point at Rock, who we're going to pretend has just been silently watching this whole time, can actually cure diseases. So if you wish to come with us and contract something, he can take care of you. Had to check his spell sheet real quick. I didn't know what spells he took.
We actually have the capability ourselves of curing disease, but individually, an individual will not. But our immune systems are extremely compromised. It's part of our brains being easily accessible. We're also not the most robust of creatures.
I point and think about Brutus's little horn caps.
Mhm.
Yep, I'm actually Zashi's actually imagining little hats for the swarm at this point. Little rats with little hats
Like
on
if
them.
having a little tinfoil hat would help shield their brain from the evil waves of the government. The aliens trying to contact. What? Why? Why that face?
I love you guys so much. Okay.
And little umbrellas to keep the sun out of their eyes. Like
Oh,
parasols.
God, little sunglasses because they aren't used to the sun.
If you can protect us, we would definitely like to send out some of the swarm to act as our eyes.
What would your emissaries eat? Because the kobolds are kind of temporarily under Zashi here's protection, per se. And they tend to think you eat them. So
We do eat them. They seem to not have they seem to not hurt our stomachs nearly as much as some of the other meat substances around here. As long as it's not as long as we can generally eat anything. It's just, as I said, our immune systems are extremely compromised, so we have to be very careful.
Storm on the shoulder. You hear that? They could eat you if you're up for it.
Storm just looks at you.
Well, so I think we're on board with this then, bringing some of your members.
Is there anything you would like to know?
So we've heard that there's other dragons that were used in the time dilation thing the elves did. Do you know where they are?
There are 4 more. Where they return to, we do not have eyes on. However, I can let you know that of where our reach doesn't extend.
Okay.
And I'm gonna actually draw on the map so that so you guys can know. So
After Daco's got a question in queue for whenever his turn comes around.
okay, they.
Ooh, is that in the water?
That is in the water. Huh.
Okay. What's Daco's question?
He's gonna just draw on the ground this time. Symbols in primordial that are associated with the oldest texts he's ever seen on earthbending, saying that he's on the lookout for symbols like this anywhere in the city if they know of anywhere.
We actually do. There is a library.
He elbows Whistler. There's a library.
Unfortunately, most of it is where we learn to. That library is where we learned tricks such as this, and they actually shift the major image again, show the library, and that it is a repository of the elven magic.
Is it safe to approach? Is it inhabited or guarded by anything that we should be wary of?
No one pays attention to 1 or 2 rats scurrying around the ground, but yes, it is protected by a fairly jealous guardian, and then the thing shifts again. And this time it's odd looking. It looks like a giant mechanical scorpion.
That looks unpleasant.
What is the time like there?
It is in the dilation field. A minute there will be 3 minutes on the outside.
Are any of your kin able to bring things out of the library? Or they just kind of peruse there discreetly and then leave?
We can grab 1 or 2 books at a time. We've found that if we try more, the Guardian gets angry.
Does the Guardian have the ability to speak, or is it completely autonomous?
We have never successfully talked to it. But it does not have it does not seem to have a brain that we are capable of communicating with.
That is fair.
Are you probing us? Besides just talking to us? How much of my mind can you read?
If I wished to be invasive, I could read all of it. But we are only surface scanning your thoughts right now. It would be rude to do more. We are only looking, and even that is simply as protection for ourselves, so that if any of you try to do anything hostile, we can respond in kind.
Well, I don't want to do anything hostile to you. You're actually allowing us to hear Whistler, or speak to Whistler directly. Super convenient.
Especially if he happens to carry a crane or a member of this swarm with him that can continue this form of communication in the future.
In order to set up this network would require a large quantity of us.
Yeah, well. Sorry, Whistler.
C'est la vie.
Is there underground access to this library
Yes.
that we could fit through?
The cat could probably fit through. Chris, I can't hear you.
I look at Daco and I just smile, remembering the last thing.
The cat got it. Sorry, Storm. I just don't see a cat when I look at you more often than not.
Cool. Huh. Since we have a chance to chat, do you know where there might be pockets of magical artifacts that haven't been pilfered yet in the city?
Pockets? The entire city is a magical artifact.
I think she means the kinds that are portable enough that we could take with us.
Can we take the city with us?
I don't know.
Maybe we should figure that out.
Ship in a bottle style.
City
Kryptonian.
Museums, armories, and banks.
I'm sorry?
Museums, armories, and banks, I think is what Tucker said.
Okay. The armory is outside of our sphere of influence, and again, they use like the major image is basically this map, and the part in the water is pings.
Is that where the tower is?
Yeah. But there is a bank. I'm just gonna ping it. There is a bank right in that merchant corner that we have not been able to access. It is warded against magics, and therefore it causes us issues.
Is it that you physically cannot enter, or that you haven't been able to on your own?
Or
If we were to take you with us, would it harm you?
it wouldn't harm us, but our communication methods would be temporarily nullified.
But you would still maintain your own minds. You just couldn't communicate.
Each individual.
Well, a feather is still just a feather.
Well, Daco's vote is that we find a way to infiltrate the library because
Oh, Zashi is on board with infiltrating a library, and she is interested in this mechanical scorpion thing.
Sweet. Okay, so that is where you would like to go.
if you would permit us to pass through your sphere of influence, and understanding that our intention is to search the library for tomes of interest on topics that we have already broached. Yes, that is our.
If I didn't want you to know about the library, I would not have let you know where it was at. We can even act as your guide
Oh,
of the tunnels.
that would be
I'm-
fantastic of you.
If anyone, I'm just thinking out. If anyone wants a ride,
Yeah.
welcome to climb on board. Big dude,
Probably all of Brutus's horns are just like covered in cranium rats.
super fine with that. Rats are adorable.
Okay.
Their little brains.
A few of them do like crawl on you and like, we'll take a quick detour and take you to one of the carts, so you don't have to. Forgive the pun, Mr. Brutus, but hoof it the entire way.
Brutus just giggles,
Yep.
like actual giggles.
Sashi like holds open one of her pockets. It's like, anyone want a pocket? It's nice and warm.
They don't really respond,
Just
but they
Probably
do lead
because-
you to a cart, and like that you kind of can file it. Like it's a little hard with Brutus because of just how much mass Brutus takes up.
What you saying?
But you guys can all kind of fit in the cart.
even my goat.
Probably not your goat.
All right, I'm gonna tell the goat to hoof it.
I was gonna say, would it, if I'm taking up a lot of space, if it wouldn't tip the cart over, could I just like sit on the back ledge and hold on to give people more room to stand or sit in the cart itself?
Sure.
Okay.
I could make a tensor's disc on the track.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably ask before doing anything sudden.
Yeah.
Even though they can read your thoughts, it's polite.
No, they actually appreciate the tensor's disc, and yeah, that would work. And the goat and Brutus can get on tensor's disc, and then you guys will be
Okay.
So you guys
Awesome.
make your way at decent speed. It's not like train speed. It's still, but it's actually the swarm seems to be like pushing the cart telekinetically, and then the tensor's disc is floating behind.
This is cool. And Zashi's just kind of giddy, and she's never ridden on a cart, so she's
Dako's keeping his eyes peeled for any debris on the tracks and will clear anything out of the way should anything present itself.
Okay. So you do come to a stop. Eventually, they indicate there's a bunch of gaps in the ceiling here. At this point, you can also tell. You should be underwater. You can actually see as you look up through the gap, water above you, just hanging out like you're in a giant aquarium.
I figured it was their force field.
Dako is suddenly claustrophobic for probably the first time in his life.
I'll reach over and pat him on the shoulder. It's okay. The rats are keeping the water away.
They do. The rats kind of like form together, and you see like the field get pushed out and move the water just slightly past. But it's a small hole. Storm you can fit through. Whistler you might be able to fit through. The rest of you, especially like Zashi with her armor, there's no way Brutus is fitting through that hole.
I was gonna say then there's no way Rock is either because he's almost the same size.
Yeah.
Is there any way around for the rest of us?
I mean, you could probably open it up, but we have to maintain all these fields through any of the breaches, and the bigger the breach, the more effort we have to put in to keep it. So we would prefer you to make the hole as do as little damage as possible.
Can you clog the other holes so they only have to do one?
We've clogged the ones that we don't have a use for already.
I was gonna say, does anyone have a I don't know, if there was a spell or something that might make people smaller, like a reduction in your general size.
Not in this game.
It's- I was like,
Zashi's gonna
someone
turn
make a
to
tiny Brutus and just shove him through.
Someone let my
Zashi's gonna
sorcerer
turn-
die. Sorry.
Don't worry. Hey,
Zashi
no
will
one
look
let
at
him. That was
Zashi will look at Whistler and say, "Do you want to maybe see if the wand might help?"
I mean, yeah, sure.
cold water now.
I mean, I can move the water, but well, actually, you know what? You said that I might be able to fit through. I'm going to try to fit through.
Okay.
I want to see what's up there.
Okay. So you're able to kind of wiggle your way up because you're small, right?
No, I'm medium. I'm just small, medium. I'm
Yeah.
like,
But
You know,
yeah,
like-
you're
yeah.
still able to wiggle yourself through. The other side, so the force field does extend out, and you're able to kind of get to a safe like ledge. You're basically in. It looks like a storeroom of a building that's actually in good shape. Like most of the other buildings have not been. Even that apartment complex that you went through is not in great shape. This one, like the gilding on the banisters is still in good shape. Nothing is very there's nothing like maze like the hole that you went through seems to be the only actual damage to this building. You're looking at a lot of books.
how deep is the water?
The water so when you pushed through, the water was about 5 feet deep.
Mm.
You're actually kind of so when you ended up on like you're basically on a bookshelf. Most of the other books are like submerged. There is a second floor that you could get up to, and you can see the staircase. It wouldn't be hard to move yourself over there. But what you do see is you hear actually the sound of like metal grinding on itself and
Mhm.
a a mechanical scorpion about 10 feet in length, kind of crawling along the walls. It doesn't seem to have noticed you yet.
At least it's not a
Hey.
giant owl.
I crawl back in the hole.
Okay.
And then I cast a silent image
Mhm.
of just the area right around the hole.
Mhm.
And I make the sounds of rocks bashing together, and then I point to Daco, and I just do this above where I made the silent image.
I don't know.
You're still part of the hive mind, so
Yeah,
you could.
just talk.
Oh, we're not far enough away from it that I can't talk.
No, they were the ones who led you over
They
here.
brought us here.
Like the whole hive brought us.
Okay. Yeah, then I just say, I bet you can build a wall up to block out the water so they can just turn the force field off.
I would look at the swarm and ask if how thick of a wall we would need to stand in for their force field, because they're better at math.
You actually the calculation would be really quick. It would need, depending upon the material, but assuming the same material as is around here, it would need to be 6 inches in width.
Daco begins, with their permission, trying to build a buttressing wall to assist with that relief mechanism for their force field.
Okay, it's gonna take you a bit, but you managed to get basically a Super Mario tube going on to.
whatever it takes.
Okay.
And that frees
It's a
them up from
reverse
their
well.
field efforts.
Hmm?
What's that?
The backwards well.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's what Dako's doing for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Somebody's phone was ringing. I don't know.
Okay, just
Don't-
no one reacted or said a thing, and I was just like, "What's
Well,
wrong?"
Becca was doing this, so I just assumed it was her.
Nope.
Yeah, no, I was just making sure
Yeah.
that something wasn't wrong with my brain. Like, I don't know toast. I don't know what's happening. I
The
mean,
Matrix is calling Shanna.
is there any way I can help with Dako's endeavor?
Probably not.
Okay, then I will just sit and play with the rats.
You can see
until
Dako
someone-
in like horse stance, like forward, down, up,
Yeah.
forward, down, up.
So after like an hour of exercising, you guys have your reverse well.
Yeah, well, you're doing your calisthenics. Every now and then, when you get really sweaty, I'll stand up and like take a scrap of like bandage or something and wipe off your forehead of sweat, and then go back to playing with the rats.
I like it.
Yeah, that's it. Just chatting with them because they seem very nice and I like them.
All right. So once Dako's done, is it big enough that all of us can fit up there, or is it just going to be a few of us?
I mean, you'd still have to open the hole wide, but I would figure as part of him doing that was to make the hole bigger.
Okay.
Right before he finishes, I'm also like, oh, by the way, big nasty scary poop.
Cool.
I'm like, please tell me you didn't have me make this large enough for the scorpion to come through.
Which at about that point, you hear skittering, and then this weirdly like six-eyed, all glowing, is just staring down at the through the well, and the rats just scatter. And I know it was going to be a long I said it was going to be a long session, but because we didn't have the Ayame ritual, that's what I got.
All right.
Okay.
Okay,
Cool. Thank you.
cool.
Yeah.
So we can kill some zombies. Well, except for we need Cherry.
No, actually, not at all. Because he's all but non-combative. So he wouldn't be taking part really anyway, except maybe taking damage.
No one's surprised about that at all.
Oh no, yeah, I know. Yeah, no, I know. I wasn't surprised when he said it.
Where's Terry? 5 rooms behind us, just moseying along.
He's just watching the firefight and going, "That looks like that sucks." I'll be over
Oh.
here.
Oh, were you guys in a fight? I didn't know.
I was cooking up some sausages.
Sausages.
Actually, like, because my character is. Do we want to switch over to Mahakta then?
Sure.
Super good with it. Sure.
I'm good
Can
with
we
it.
have like a 10-minute intermission for potty breaks and
Yes,
snack
I know.
gathering?
I've had so much coffee.
Yes,
Alright.
yes.
Right.
Let's do that.
Are we staying on Hangouts or are we going to roll 20?
Up to you guys.
It's your game, Shayna.
I don't. I hate you when you do that.